NYPA, it's time to start the show, so search for the squad and listen out for the promo with the West Wild Spitter, spin his web into a chokehold. Make it unfold, 5 o'clock. Who gives a damn of what your man to say? We spittin' live wireless, leave him shot with the gamma ray. Ain't no runner-up, cause it ain't the closest to candidate. I block so deep and you draw like Japanese anime. It's just us and the rest, news off the hottest press. Kyle Holton, Philly West, reppin' with the legends, classic interview session, politics, sports segment, live phone, call up a question, it's the NYPA, 95 connection, real people, ain't no scripted cue card for direction, just team on their grind time till it's all perfection, throw it past the satellite so you can catch reception, so touch ground with us, we kill challenges, and murder it for every number on your calendars, from west to the boogie down the Greyhound in this, we Google Spot, Anchor Podcast, pocket this.
Welcome everyone to another episode of NYPA Entertainment Radio. Of course, it's the final season. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode. And as always, if you're watching on YouTube, just press subscribe for new episode notifications for NYPA Entertainment Radio, the final season. You can listen to me or watch me on Spotify, also in other platforms to come, especially when I transition over and move into the new podcast, Who is Kyle Graham, coming in 2026. So again, thank you for taking the time out for watching this week's episode. Right now, as normally I would do like live or whatever, and I'll get back to, eventually I will, I'm doing like live to recording. It's finally June, it's June 1st, and which means summertime is gradually creeping up. And to quote Will Smith, the weather's getting hot and girls are dressing less. And I dig that the most. So looking forward to the summertime season that's upon us, summer solstice, which is in a couple of weeks. Last week, I forgot to mention two things. And one of them, I was checking out a documentary on HBO Max, whatever. And it was Pee Wee Herman himself. The documentary was about Paul Reubens, the man behind Pee Wee Herman, his career and so forth. And it was a very good documentary. It's like 2 parts. It's total 4 hours. Part 1's 2, and obviously part 2 is 2 hours, also 4 hours. Duh. And it really tells you about the man who created this very great pop culture icon. And I love documentaries about artists, whether it's painters, writers, musicians. When they talk about their art, I'm like listening, because I always want to know the creative process and how they create a movie or a book or a comedy sketch or a comedy show or a comedy character. And with Paul Reubens, the thing about it, it goes into that, how he created Pee Wee Herman, but also how he was extremely private throughout his whole life. During the time that he was making the documentary, it was in 2023. No one knew at the time that for 7 years he was battling cancer. He didn't say a word to anyone. Everyone shooting the documentary didn't know that. Unless he was part of his inner circle, no one knew that he was suffering with cancer. During, I think, near the end or the wrap of it, he got sick and he passed away in July of 2023. I didn't think, when he said that, he showed a kind of disclaimer in the beginning. I was like, man, it's been 2 years already, going on 2 years. It's like, it's like it didn't happen that long ago. It's like it's been more recent than in the past. But it's astonishing. It gets into all the controversial stuff that happened to him when he got caught, quote unquote, exposing himself. To get into that in the details, his side of the story. And it was amazing how secretive he was, private. Private. He has that right to be private, and how he hid his homosexuality from the public, and why he did it and so forth. And he tells you in the documentary he's reluctant on doing it because he likes to be in control of it and instead of have other people control the narrative. And it's good. Like I said, it's in the director, even you can see them kind of go back and forth on camera about Paul Rubens kind of controlling the narrative of the documentary. And normally they would say, and he said, like, if you're doing someone doing documentary stuff, you usually got to let, kind of take your hand off the steering wheel, like everyone to control it. But he had a difficult time doing it, and they say it throughout the whole thing. But no one knew this whole time that he was battling cancer, and he passed away prior to wrapping everything up. And very private. Like, I think, like I said, he had an inner circle. His inner circle knew, not just his inner circle. Like, that's how private he was, and of course he has a right to be. And genius, if you watch it, just the different how he just came in with Pee Wee, and he was a big pop icon of the '80s. He was everywhere during that time, and his rise and his fall, and kind of rose again after what happened in Florida in 1990 and other things that happened. It's very poignant. Check it out. I recommend. It's a good documentary. I didn't want to come on here, and if it's bullshit, I tell you. But this is very good. It's deep, funny, obviously, and it kind of gives you insight on everything, what he was going through at the time, as being at the height of everything, and then when everything come crashing down, and how you know those who cared about him circled the wagon and helped him, and then those he thought cared about him shitted on him, you know. But definitely check it out. It's called Pee Wee as Himself. It's on HBO Max or Max or whatever. And another thing I forgot to mention, speaking of the '80s, was actor George Wendt, who was on Cheers. It was one of my favorite shows growing up. He played Norm Peterson, and when I was a kid, when I was a kid, didn't get the concept, didn't understand it. From a teenager to a grown man, the jokes made sense. It was just kind of like, oh, I get it now. Like, I didn't get it as a kid, but as I got older and I was a teen, I seen it in repeats. And I remember in real time when it was on, some jokes I got, some didn't. And you watch back as a adult, like, oh, this shit was ahead of its time. It was very funny. And it made drinking fun. And that's why I love beer and drinking. And I never understood, like, he was an iconic character. And George Williams in black and white video, Michael Jackson, and movies like Ho. But mainly known for Cheers. And they were doing online like retrospective of one-liners. And I can't remember all of them. When he comes to the bar, of course, everybody yell Norm. And one in particular that I really stood out that I think I like is a lot. But one that I remembered, he comes in, they all yell Norm. Sam, played by Ted Danson, said, "How's it going, Norm?" He says, "A dog-eat-dog world, Sam, and I'm wearing milk bone underwear." And I was like, yeah, as an adult, you get it. Like, yeah, as a kid, like, everybody laugh. Like, there's a big laugh from the crowd. Like, I don't get it. But as an adult, like, I get it. Yeah, I get it. But he had a lot of great one-liners. And again, part of pop culture, that show, the ensemble cast, which, spin off into Frasier, which is another great show with Kelsey Grammer. But George Wendt, you can see Cheers anywhere. You go to Pluto, you go on any network, TV, whatever, you're going to see a Cheers marathon. But he will be missed. But his work, along with Paul Rubens' work, is still here for us to look at and enjoy and remember with fondness and smile. Left a great body of work. And when you see, of course, you don't think about it when you're younger, but those you watch as a kid, they get older and they pass on. Like, wow, like it really hits you hard. Like, damn, like that's part of your childhood, what you watched and memories and other stuff that you've seen them in and so forth. But at least their work is here that we can appreciate and remember them again with fondness. Let's move on. So I'm gonna get into something. This weekend is here in Philadelphia is the Roots Picnic. It was June 1st. Well, I think May 31st and June 1st. So, which is today. So they had yesterday, which is Saturday, today, which is Sunday, as I'm doing the show. And let's just say, at least for the first night, didn't get great reviews. So it says first day of Roots picnic was quote an absolute disaster. Fans said. Um, so the article goes. It says this is the author, the person who wrote the article. He says somebody who writes about restaurants a fair amount. I like to say that you can have the most amazing James Beard Award winning food ever, but if your hostess is nasty, when I walk in or seat me at 7:30 p.m. when my 7 p.m. reservation, or it takes me 20 minutes to get my first drink in, or God forbid all the above, it happens. I couldn't care less about your confit this or in kraut that. And it sounds like the first day of the Roots picnic in Philadelphia was the live concert version of this apocalyptic scenario. So a lot of words there. Quote, it was an absolute disaster, says South Jersey mental health therapist Lauren Brown. Quote, we have seen an announcement earlier in the day that they were postponing opening until 2 p.m. So we got here at 2 p.m. and we didn't get into the venue until 7:01 p.m. Supposed opening at 2 p.m. Supposed to get there, and so they got there at 2 p.m., but they didn't get to the venue until 7:01 p.m. Do the math, everyone. Quote, oh, sometime between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m., the official Roots Picnic social media posted the following. Hey, fam, due to heavy storms that hit the Philly area over the last 24 to 48 hours, the festival grounds took on a lot of mud and flooding. It created some real safety hazards, and we couldn't open the gates until we made sure everything was solid for y'all. Y'all. The good news is scheduled. The schedule has been adjusted, so you won't miss a single act. We promise. We're just shifting things back and make sure everyone still gets the full experience. Appreciate your patience and understanding while we do what we got to do to keep it safe and unforgettable. We promise we'll make up for it. Welcome to the picnic. But Brown said there was no one outside communicating to the huge crowd of fans what was happening. So she took a video and it showed a long line of people sitting there, angry, hot, wet, and all that stuff. It says, quote, we would see these staffers outside to ask them questions, but they would just say, I have no idea, Brown would call. So she continues, so I have no idea what their purpose was. We weren't allowed to bring chairs, so there was nowhere to sit, and I have a back and knee issues, and we didn't see any bathrooms or trash cans, so everybody was just throwing stuff on the ground while we were waiting out there for hours and hours. As Brown explained it, there was a massive wide crowd of people standing around outside on the line, but then all but but then they all had to bottleneck through a relatively small number of metal detectors, and as you would guess, some people who had only been there for an hour or two managed to get ahead of people like Brown, who had been waiting all day. She continues, there was no organization of any kind, Brown says, absolutely zero. Brown says she paid $400 per ticket plus fees for a 2-day general admission plus pass, admission plus pass. I asked her what was the plus was all about. You're supposed to have some special privileges, she said, but I didn't see nothing special about it. Quite the opposite. She's already disputed the ticket charge with her credit card company. Quote, oh, make no mistake, Brown tells me, the person wrote the article, I will be getting a refund. It's good that I'm a therapist. I have good coping skills. Otherwise, I might have blown something up. Yeah, I don't see no humor in that. Uh, Baltimore nonprofit leader Val Jenkins drove up to Philadelphia with some of her organization's volunteers to see what the Roots Picnic was all about. Quote, my daughter went 2 years in a row and said she would never go again because it was very I'll do that again. Would never go again because it was very poorly run, says Jenkins. But I thought to myself, how bad could it be? Now I know. Very poorly run, an understatement is understatement. The VIP line must have been 3 times longer than the general admission line. Explain that to me. How is your VIP line 3 times longer than the general admission line? Jenkins says she saw one woman who was waiting in line for hours pass out and fall to the ground. She continued, there is a picnic, and one of the main things about a picnic is the blessing of food, Jenkins said, but there was no food for those of us waiting out there in line for hours and hours. Maybe that woman was diabetic and needed to eat. Who knows? It was just wrong. Jenkins brought a 2-day general admission pass and insisted she wouldn't be using the second day of her pass. Quote, why would I go back for a second day of the same bullshit? Jenkins posted the following on TikTok on Sunday morning, and she just went ham, and um, yeah, I'll keep my comments on how she looked to myself. It's not the time for that. Elementary school teacher Lanita Callahan also drove up from Maryland and says she is furious about the entire experience. It was ridiculous. She says there was this gate that wasn't wide enough for these people in wheelchairs to get through, and nobody was doing anything about it. Eventually, we all started chanting, open the gate, but it took forever to get someone to actually do anything. Callahan didn't arrive until 4 p.m. and says it took her about 3 hours to get to the metal detectors. Eventually, she said, we came to realize that one reason the line was moving as much it was because people was cutting their losses and leaving. She said, I only went there to see Maxwell on the updated set list time that they put out on Saturday due to problems. They said Maxwell will go on a little after 9. It was 11:30 by the time he went on. It was a very unpleasant day. One doctor from Delco, who has been to more than a few Roots picnics, says this may be her last. Quote, my annual tradition of the Roots picnic may have come to an end after this year, she wrote on the social media. Took 2 hours to get in. I had to help a lady having a full-on panic attack, but I was in good company, and the crowd in line was breaking into song at times as we suffered together. I didn't get to see Maxwell. The lineup next year will have to be fire, otherwise I'm getting too old for this. And it ended right there, and they said the Roots picnic curator Questlove did his best to apologize to fans in an Instagram post. You know, it happens when you have these festivals outside, especially outside, like the Rick Ross joint he has every year, and everything's outside. When you outside is so different than inside, and you laugh at me like, "Oh, I know that." When you're doing something on the outside, weather is a huge thing. It's not going to be too hot. It can be too cold. You can have rain. Like we had a lot of rain here going into this particular weekend, and you're not prepared fully. So to to say that people are disappointed is just whatever. I don't like crowds. I'm not a big concert person. If I go to a concert, it's as snotty as it sounds. I gotta be on the inside looking out, meaning behind the scenes, because that's what I'm used to. I no, especially outside. Not to have any food given out, not to have any bathroom stalls set up or something is wrong. And again, I think they didn't expect it on there. And maybe on the Roots Picnic side, they didn't expect that it would be so ungodly, nasty in terms of conditions. Right. So um, it's something to learn from this on their end. If they're going to do it next year, they got to come better than that, a whole lot better. Because when they announce it next year, and I'm sure they will, they're going to learn from this experience. They're going to have to do better. They're going to have to, I would say, over prepare. What I mean over prepare is just make sure you have the porta potty set up, have complimentary foods and bottled water on hand just in case something happens. Because it's ridiculous. There's no chairs. They said bring no chairs. You're standing for 5 hours, 5 hours or more to get in. And then the act you're looking for, let's say Maxwell, come on now, he's at 11:30. You're tired. Now I dig the move, right? You thought the show, let's say you thought the show was going to be done by early evening. Let's say the Bruce Springsteen is supposed to start at 12. And I don't know, let's say by 4 or 5. I'm throwing it out there, right? Because you're outdoors, you're starting at 12. Because they push it back to 2. Well, you expect, all right, it's a day trip. We'll turn around, we'll head back down to Baltimore. We'll be home by 8 or 9 o'clock. Okay, the act that you're looking for to come on to 11:30. And we don't know how long he's going to be there. He can be there for a long time. He can be there for 2 songs. You're pissed off. Then you're tired. You go back down to Baltimore. Not trying to find a motel, hotel, because maybe it's not in the budget to do that. And you're tired. You gotta go back down for another 2-3 hours or whatever. They're gonna have to tighten this up and get it together. And that's one thing I don't like about outdoor festivals is that type of stuff. Going indoors is different. Indoors is whatever. You're going to sit down and you have your foibles or whatever. In terms of delayed shows, at least you're sitting down. At least there might be concession stands you can go to, whatever. You outside in the park, and there's no chairs, there's no access to food, no bathroom until you get behind a certain set of gates. It's ridiculous. And I feel bad for them, man. All the money the lady paid $400 and then some. It's crazy. That's crazy. I wonder what her seats was at inside the. I think might be the man music. Might be the man, but the man is an outdoor venue. I would not pay $400. I'm sorry. I don't care what the line of business. I don't care who you are. Fuck that. And I don't blame her asking for her money back. But yeah, man, they got to do better than that. That's harsh. And for someone like me, who don't like stand on lines, waiting to get in, I'm impatient at times, and I'm not big on wait times. I'm not big on wait times for restaurants. And it's like, we'll go to another one. You know what I'm saying? But they got to do better than that, and hopefully, and I think they will, because it's bad publicity. That next year in 2026, I think they'll tighten it up and come and present it in a better way. Going forward, and like I said, you got to over prepare the under prepare, because that's just ridiculous. That's ridiculous, and I feel for those standing out there. People with health conditions and that can't stand long. Trust me, I know that feeling. You're just standing there for 5 hours, thirsty, hungry, and you can't sit down. When they showed the picture, one guy sitting on the tree stump. You know what I mean? Some people are sitting on grass, sitting on gravel and ground. You know what I mean? So they should get it together, and I think they will, and hopefully they will. But I think they will, because it's bad publicity, and it doesn't look good for the Roots. It doesn't look good for Philadelphia, and that's revenue for the city, and that's kind of messed up, and it's not the city's fault per se, but organizers could do a better job. And I get it, shit happens, but again, you gotta always over prepare. I rather over prepare than under prepare, because at least you can at least prepare for everything. Try to cover your bases as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? So they should get it together. We'll find out in 2026. Let us move on. What else I have? I have some Diddy stuff, but let me start with Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar beaten by Eminem at American Music Awards. Kendrick Lamar's seemingly unbeatable streak has finally come to an end at the American Music Awards. While the Compton superstar did pick up a win for favorite hip hop song with "Not Like Us," he was otherwise shut out at the ceremony. Lamar was nominated across 5 other categories, including Artist of the Year, but was beaten by Billie Eilish. Eilish also triumphant over Lamar in Album of the Year and Song of the Year. The biggest upset came in the hip hop catalog, with Eminem taking home both favorite hip hop artist and favorite hip hop album. Lamar and SZA were also nominated for Collaboration of the Year, but beaten by Bruno Mars and Lady Gaga, with their smash hit Die with a Smile. Kind of warped, but I get it. Die with a Smile also beat Not Like Us as favorite music video, despite falling to failing to come out victorious at the AMAs. Lamar has been breaking records left and right over the last year. Sorry, this pop up. I'm trying to get rid of this pop up. Okay. A recent performance by Kendrick and SZA on the Grand National Tour in Seattle grossed $14.8 million, meaning Dot became the first rapper to ever break the 14 million mark of a single concert. It was the most attended gig on tour so far, with almost 61,000 fans attending. Kendrick broke his own record with the feat after a performance at the AT&T Stadium in Dallas brought in a whopping 11.828 to 822 million in a single night. Um, Listen, it happens. I think a lot of like awards, period, whether it's sports or entertainment, music. I think some of that shit is rigged. I think it is. Not saying people don't deserve it. Not saying M didn't deserve it. Not saying Billie Eilish didn't deserve it. Uh, some of this shit is kind of rigged. At the end of the day, don't mean anything. He still has had and is having a great year, album wise, money wise, and so forth. Uh, like I said, when they vote for awards, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, music, um, we don't know what categories they're looking for. We don't know what they're looking for. Money, it could be money. It could be record sales. It could be race. It could be. I'm being honest. It could be anything. We don't know. But he still have. I'm sure it didn't phase him that much. He still have an outstanding year. Like I said, he's killing it in the tours. He's everywhere. So if you're gonna be beaten by somebody for the best hip hop album, why not let it be Eminem? You get beat by the best. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're up against the best, lost by the best, or whatever. But it doesn't matter. He's still that dude. And if M lost, M would still be that dude. It's the me that makes a big deal out of it. He's still having a great year, like I said, and I'm sure that it might have bummed him out just a little bit because sometimes when you feeling it, you kind of you want to win everything, but when he didn't lose to a bum ass person. He lost to an icon, a legend, of Eminem. So it's like, hey, it's not like some Waka Flocka Flame dude or Two Chains cat. Eminem. Like, hey, lose to the best. That's how I feel like. Fuck, he's one of the goats. So, but like he shake it off. He having a great year, and he has more awards to win down the pipeline. So that's cool. But he's killing it this year overall. He's really killing it. Yeah. Staying with the AMAs, SHABOOZEY, love that name, country singer. SHABOOZEY responds to viral AMA side eye after Megan Moroney says the Carter family basically invented country. Yeah. Yeah. So when you uncover the true history of country music, you find a story so powerful that it cannot be erased. SHABOOZEY wrote Tuesday on social media this past Tuesday because the AMAs aired last Sunday. So SHABOOZEY, love the name, love saying it, has responded to the viral moment where he appeared to side-eye presenter Megan Moroney at the 2025 American Music Awards Monday, I said Sunday, last Monday. The two artists can be seen taking a stage to present the award for favorite country duo or group. Quote, country music has been an important part of AMA history, SHABOOZEY began adding. The very first year of the show, the award for favorite male country artist went to the great Charlie Pride. Pride, who died in 2020, is considered to be the country genre's first black superstar. That same year, favorite female artist went to Lynn Anderson, and this award went to this year one went to the Carter family, who basically invented country music. Moroney then reads off the teleprompter. SHABOOZEY can then be seen giving that giving what looks like a side eye and scrunching up his face in apparent confusion at the comment before laughing and moving on. This past Tuesday, the bar song Tipsy singer seemed to allude to the moment which promptly went viral when you uncover quote, again, when you uncover the true history of country music, you find a story so powerful that it cannot be erased, he posted on X, Twitter. Like referring to the influence black artists have historically had in country music, including the Carters. In a subsequent post an hour later, he added, the real history of country music is about people coming together despite their differences and embracing and celebrating the thing that makes us alike. The artist then, in response to social media user hate posting about Moroney with a lengthy clarification on her on one of her Instagram posts. Quote, just want to clear something up. My reaction to AMAs had nothing to do with Megan Moroney, he wrote. She is an incredibly talented, hardworking artist who's doing amazing things for country music, and I've got nothing but respect for her. I've seen some hateful comments directed to her today, he continued, and that's not what this moment was about. Let's not twist the message. She is amazing and someone who represents the country community in the highest light! Exclamation point! Light! Um, per the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Carters, meaning A.P. Carter, Sarah Doherty Carter, and Maybelle Addington Carter, are considered the first family of country music. As the Hall of Fame notes, the group was heavily influenced by black musicians Leslie Riddle, who helped A.P. with songs and taught Maybelle his guitar style. There's a guy named Maybelle? He got picked on a lot. The influence of black musicians on the country genre has become a more likely wide discussed topic in industry in recent years. In the wake of Ken Burns' 2019 documentary series Country Music, um, amply titled "Black Artists Helped Build Country Music and then left them behind," one of the series' central tenets is the country music has always been home to African American artists. The outlet rights of Burns' docuseries Burns shows that just like rock, jazz, and pop, every facet of country, from its instrumentation to repertoire to vocal and instrumental techniques, is indebted to African American traditions, but commercial decisions by white industry executives led to their exclusions from the genre for decades. I I seen the side eye, the look or whatever, and it may have been the confusion when they said the Carter family. Think of Sean Carter and Beyonce, when she was meaning the Carters, meaning A.P. Carter, Sarah Doherty Carter, and Maybelle Addison Carter are considered the first family of country music. So that's what she's saying. And a lot of people don't know that. And they're thinking of Beyonce and whatever. And because that's the Carter family, it's the name right now. He did give her a look, kind of like whatever. Maybe he was a little confused, but I don't think it was an out of malice. It was kind of, he was taken back by it. And of course, we live in a world where we look at every facial expression. We look at every like raised eyebrow and any smirk, and we run away with it. And maybe he was taken back, and I don't think it was out of malice because he kind of gave her a look. Maybe he wasn't thinking about the actual Carters, A.P. Carter and Maybelle and Sarah, and maybe what on his mind, like everybody else, was he talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce. But of course, we're in a social media age where we love to take things and run with it and just make a story out of it. And that's cool that SHABOOZEY took time out to clarify everything, to defend Megan, and to clarify and just kind of clarify, like, look, we cool, it happened, blah, 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 blah. Um, it is what it is, and it bees what it bees. Uh, it's It's not that big of a deal. Even if she was, and so what if she did mean that? Maybe so what? Maybe in her mind that's what she felt as though. it took off now because it's hip now and cool now because of Beyonce. Who knows? Or maybe she made a mistake. Or what if she did make a mistake? Who cares? But more so, his response is what it was, and maybe he was taken back by it. But I'm glad he stood up. He said, "Listen, it's not that big of a deal. I'm cool with her. This is what she meant. These Carters, X, Y, and Z." And kind of in the article, give you history. Like all genres of music, there's roots there with African American and Africans, and you do your history, you'll find out. And um, African American culture has been excluded a lot, even in its own music, even in hip hop, it's been excluded at times. So it's good to kind of get that lesson learned. And you got to find it. You got to look into it and blues and country. Yeah, man, it resonated with African Americans. So it's just not me saying because I'm African American, but it's true. You gotta do your history, and it doesn't mean anything, man. Look, we shouldn't base anything off of race, color, creed, him or her. And as cheesy it may sound, we should just accept it for what it is, and everybody come together, make good music, and have fun, and keep it moving. I don't know why we can't do that. All right, now we gonna let's see. I got a little Taylor Swift. Then we're gonna get to some Diddy. Taylor Swift announcement: singer says she now owns her entire catalog of music. Taylor Swift has regained control over her entire body of work. In a lengthy note posted on her official website this past Friday, Swift announced, "All of the music I've ever made now belongs to me." According to the note, the pop star has purchased her catalog of recordings originally released through Big Machine Records from the most recent owner, the private equity firm Shamrock Capital. She did not disclose the amount. We are thrilled with this outcome, and they are so happy for Taylor, Shamrock Capital said in a statement. Over the last few years, Swift has been re-recording and releasing her first 6 albums in an attempt to regain control of her music. The series has instigated by music manager Scooter Braun's purchase and sale of her early catalogs, and represents Swift's effort to control her own songs, and how they used previous Taylor Swift versions released have been more than conventional re-recordings, arriving with new from the vault music, Easter eggs, and visuals that deepen understanding of her work. And between re-recordings, she has released new music, including last year's The Torture Poets Department, announced during the 24 Grammys and released during her record-breaking tour. So far, there has been 4 re-recorded albums. Swift's last re-recording in 1989's Taylor's version, arrived in October 23, just 4 months after the release of Speak Now, Taylor's version. That was the same year Swift claimed the record for the women with the most number 1 albums in history. Listen, I said it before, I say it again. The same way Salt-N-Pepa's going after theirs, you gotta own your masters, man. You have to. You gotta get them. And knowing, I don't know her personally, but I think she's a very smart person, very smart woman, businesswoman. She ain't letting them suckers go. She's not. She's already a billionaire or close to it. She holding on to them suckers. That's generational money right there. And the same way I think Salt-N-Pepa, they get theirs back. That's generational money. You hold on to that, and you keep it in the family. It's a huge thing. What people, a lot of artists don't realize, and I hope if you're an aspiring artist and you're listening and watching this episode, you've been hearing what I've been saying for the past few years. In the beginning, you may have to give up your stuff, unless you do independent. A lot of people do independent now. You own your own things, but if you sign to a company, a record label, whatever, you may have to give that up for X amount of years. But a lot of artists now do independent. They own it. They get to distribute it the way they want to, and all profits go back to them, and they own their masters, and they own their recordings. And man, all the hard work that you put into whatever you do, whatever is producing music, writing the music, making the music, writing the script, directing, whatever the case may be, do your best to hold on to it or get it right back. Because that's your hard work that's being put out there that people are profiting off of. You're making a nice chunk of change that's like, wow, overwhelming. But like I said last week and many other times, those who have it will double and triple it and keep it generational for them, for their family also. So kudos to her, man. Hold on to it. I think she will. I think she got it, and she's top notch. And I won't be. Everyone's going to come to her anyway. They want to use her song in a movie or a commercial or whatever the case may be, and she can feel free to rent it out. She can. It's it's your art, and you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in your art. You get it back. I don't. I'll be shocked unless she someone down the line really, 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 really needs the money. I don't think she'll be giving it up, but it's cool that she got it back. I think a lot of artists, you have the opportunity to get it back. Moving on. What do I have? Okay, yeah. Okay, those are some Diddy things. Which one do I want to start with? All right, it's a lot because there's so much shit going on. Let me start with this one. Sorry. 50 Cent Diddy fight spills into court as former assistant reveals long running feud. I have a companion piece to go with this also. So once I read this in the companion piece, I will give you my opinion. Yeah. Um, A long brewing hip hop feud spilled into the courtroom this week after former assistant of Sean Diddy Combs alleged the music mogul had beef with fellow rapper 50 Cent. Capricorn Clark, who worked as Combs' assistant for several years in the mid 2000s, took to the stand in his federal sex crimes trial May 27th to chronicle the alleged abuse she suffered at the hands of the music mogul and to name drop a few other industry power players. In one instance, Clark described traveling with Combs to MTV for a press engagement and overhearing him tell security guard that he didn't like nonsense and people, but he did like guns. Rapper 50 Cent, who has been trolling Diddy online throughout the trial, was also at MTV that day. Clark said, claiming Combs had an issue with 50 Cent. The issue has become even more apparent in recent months as 50 Cent, who is producing a Netflix documentary on Combs, has continued to paint Combs as a liar and a fraud. In a July interview with the Hollywood Reporter, 50 Cent claimed, quote, everything Combs says is a lie, alluding to a CNN video showing Combs physically assaulted Ventura Fine, the rap, Cassie Ventura. The rapper added that with all the influence and power you have, the person you're with is supposed to want to be part of your life and not be forced. 50 Cent told the outlet some people in Hollywood might fear being implicated in if they spoke out against Combs in the wake of the torrent of civil lawsuits accusing the music mogul of sexual assault and abuse. Quote, some of them were involved at the parties and enjoyed themselves, so they don't know what has been filmed, he said. So they're not going to say anything because they might have had too much fun. And then you've got other people who look and go, well, that's not my business, and I don't want to be in it, unquote. Um, Let me read the companion piece. Well, let me back up. No, let me back up. So Capricorn Clark continues, says Diddy threatened her after discovering Suge Knight ties. Clark, who said she worked for Combs between '04 and 12, also told jurors that marrying Suge Knight, the one-time music mogul and hip hop executive who feuded with Combs in the '90s, is the father of her best friend's children. Knight, the co-founder of Death Row Records, a California-based label, was at Ozell Combs' Battle Records on the East Coast West Coast hip hop rivalry. Knight has emerged as a recurring character in the trial. The Combs' ex partner and star witness Cassandra Cassie Ventura Fine recalled an instance in which he tried to dissuade the music mogul from confronting him. The prosecution appears poised to use Combs' feud with Knight, as well as another series of encounters with Robert Kid Cudi, as demonstrative of a violent streak. Clark, who claims Combs was violent with her throughout her tenure, told jurors that on her first day of work, the music mogul took her to Central Park after 9 p.m. and interrogated her about the connections to Knight. He told me he didn't know I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me. Clark alleged, saying she took the threat took it that as a very serious threat. Clark's testimony is key to the prosecution claims of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in prostitution. All charges Combs have pleaded not guilty, given that her accounts corroborate claims from Victoria Fines and Cudi. All right, I'm gonna stop there because I do want to comment, but I do have a bit of something else with 50 Cent, and I got one more Diddy thing. So 50 says he will reach out to Donald Trump in an effort to prevent a Diddy pardon. 50 Cent is looking to give President Donald Trump his 2 cents. Who wrote that? It's so corny. About showing Diddy Combs. That's so corny. I hate when writers try to be whimsical and cutesy with their writing. 50 Cent trying to give his 2 cents. Waka waka. Like, it's, dude, that's just corny. That's corny writing. It's a hack. That's a hack move. Like, come on. In an Instagram post on May 30th, the Indie Club rapper said he'll reach out to Trump after the president said he would look at the facts in Combs' case, suggesting a pardon could be on the table. 50 shared a clip of the president's comments in his post and wrote that Combs and some really bad things about Trump, added that he will reach out so he knows how I feel about this guy. In a follow-up post, 50 Cent suggested Combs' past comments about Trump could prevent a potential pardon. Donald doesn't take well to disrespect and doesn't forget who chosen to go against him, he wrote. He also shared a screenshot of an article suggesting that he was trying to nuke Combs' chances of pardon, clarifying, I didn't say I would nuke anything. I simply said I will make sure Trump is aware. Combs is on trial in New York, has pleaded not guilty, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. Let me back up a little bit about Capricorn Clark's claim that allegedly he took her to a park after 9 p.m. and threatened to kill her. You know what I'm about to say, and y'all going to agree or disagree, but I'm going to say it anyway. Why are you just now saying this? I don't give a flying fuck who you working for, how much money it is. If my boss or whoever it is threatened to kill me over some nonsense that doesn't make any sense, I'm not sticking around to better enhance my career or to make money. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. Like, he's not a god. He's a human being. Don't wait till now. Do not wait till now to start shitting on the man. You should have caught him in the fucking beginning. This is what pisses me off about the accusations I'm hearing. Get him then. Don't get him now. You waited all these years. Somebody threatened me. And it was like, I will kill you if blah, 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 blah. That's all you got to say one time. Because one, I'm quitting. Two, I'm calling the police, or we going to be like locking knees right there, fighting, or locking ass, as Mike would say, and be fighting. Because there is no way in the world you're going to threaten me and think it's like I gotta come to work every day and work for you. No way. Just says a lot about the character. Like, he's not a god. He's a human being. You call the police, man, threatening to kill you, threatening to take your life, and your career status is more important than that. Like, come on. And then you fast 4 years later, now you on trial saying he did this to me. And like, you should have took care of that in the beginning. That motherfucker should have been in handcuffs a long time ago. Why wait? That doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, y'all might agree with me, y'all may not. I don't give a flying fuck if you do or not. But it is my opinion, and it incenses me where I hear stories is like, why didn't y'all say anything back then? Why didn't y'all just call the police on this guy? Like, he's not a god. He's a human being. Period. That's all he is. That's all he is. He's just a human being. That's just my camera, y'all. He's just a human being. But you guys just like I don't get that. Now then I'm gonna transfer to 50. Here it is what I say. If you're going after one, you go after all. And what I mean by that is you're going out your way to tell Trump to not pardon if he decides to Combs. Why don't you tell him to stop pardoning other people? There's a lot of other cats, like I think NBA YoungBoy just got pardoned. I don't see you stopping him. It's a couple of the Christies, the reality TV couple got pardoned. I don't see you trying to stop them. And they finagled and they gagged people out of their money, but I don't see you trying to stop them. So, like, what's your end game? What is your end game? I know you don't like the guy. I get that. All right, all right. He goes away forever in jail. Okay, but in real time, and I go back to this: if you saw something yourself, because he said, "I knew for years, but why didn't you say anything? Don't pile on now. Why didn't you say anything back then? Why didn't you really raise the flag and really like let know that this dude been doing this for years? Don't pile on now." And then, like I said, Trump been pardoning people that maybe don't deserve to be pardoned, but you don't say a word about that. You gonna do one, do them all. Do your research on all, not this clown that's been terrifying people for years. And it incenses me when I hear like you targeting one person, meaning 50 Cent. And I was like, check out the other pardons that shouldn't be out there. People should not be walking that guy sentence for stuff, and he pardoned them. So you're gonna do one, do them all. And I know, like, you got a buck up your ass about whatever happened between y'all two, whatever the case may be. But go after everybody. And then for Capricorn Clark, like I said, sweetheart, it don't take but one time someone take me in a dark ass park after 9 p.m. and threaten to kill me. Cause like it's gonna be like fuck this. Like we gonna be scuffing and I'm calling the law or something because I'm not gonna come to work the next day. You threaten to kill me. That doesn't make sense. And I hopefully, I fear for my life. He's not a god. He's a human being. Like he's a human being. But I think, my opinion, and I think she's more concerned about her career. Where it's like, I'll ignore it. I can just do this for a year or two, and I can just leave this behind, and blah blah blah. And apparently, she didn't leave it behind because she brought it, just bringing it up. But you got to catch them in the act right then and there. Don't wait till after the fact, and that's what I don't understand. That's the frustrating thing about it. That's the whole frustrating thing I don't understand is all these stories are coming up and no one did anything at the time. Y'all waited this whole time. And it was like, y'all could have got this man in the fucking beginning. Y'all just let it go. Like 50 Cent said, it ain't my business. I got nothing to do with it. And then now it is your business because you could be implicated or you feel bad or he got caught or whatever the case may be. Don't sit on your hands and close your eyes. You see some shit in real time, say something and stop whatever monster that is brewing. Stop him in his tracks. Just do it. One more. Ex-aide to Sean Diddy Combs testified he kidnapped her and plot to kill Kid Cudi. Now, going back to Capricorn Clark. A former top aide for Sean Diddy Combs testified Tuesday that the hip-hop mogul threatened to kill her during the first day on the job and waved a gun as he kidnapped her years later in an angry rush to find and kill rapper Kid Cudi. Capricorn Clark accounts of Combs' volatility and violence launched the third week of testimony at his Manhattan federal sex trafficking trial. I get out, y'all. Prosecutors called Clark, the former global brand director of Combs Babel Entertainment, to support a charge that he led a 2-decade racketeering conspiracy that rallied on beefy bodyguards, death threats, and silence of frightened staffs to ensure he got what he wanted. Combs, 55, has pleaded not guilty in an indictment alleging her his abuse of longtime girlfriend, R&B singer Cassie, and others. If convicted, he faced 15 years to life in prison. Clark tearfully testimony came days after Cuddy, whose legal name is Scott Miscuddy, testified that Clark called him from a car outside his home on December 2011 and told him Combs had forced her to accompany him to Cuddy's house. Combs was angry. Cuddy was in Cassie, whose legal name is Cassie Ventura. Clark said, Clark, referring to Combs as Puff, said he came to her home holding a gun and demanded she get dressed because we're going to kill Cuddy. Her voice shaky, Clark recounted how they rode in a black Cadillac Escalade to Cuddy's Los Angeles home, where Combs and his bodyguard entered the residence while Clark sat in an SUV and called Cassie. Clark testified she told Cassie that Combs got me with a gun and brought me to Cuddy's house to kill him. Cuddy said she heard Cuddy in the Clark said she heard Cuddy in the background asking, "He's in my house?" She said she told Cassie, "Stop him, he's going to get himself killed." Cassie told her she couldn't stop Cuddy, she recalled. Now all this goes back to what Cuddy said. He broke in the house and put the dog in it and so forth and so on. Combs returned to the Escalade and asked Clark, who was she talking to? She said, then he grabbed the phone and called Cassie back. They next heard Cuddy driving up the road. Clark said Combs and his bodyguard got back in the SUV and chased after Cuddy, finally giving up when past police cars that were heading to Cuddy's house. After the break-in, Clark said Combs told her she had to convince Cuddy it wasn't me. If you don't convince him of that, I'll kill all of you, he said, punctuating his threat with an expletive. Clark said she and Cassie went to Cuddy's home, telling jurors we needed to talk to him. We needed to make sure he wasn't going to make a police report about Puff. After that, she said she watched in shock as Combs viciously assaulted Cassie over her relationship with Cuddy. Combs kicked Cassie out 100% force in the legs and back as she curled on the ground outside the home in fetal position and wept silently. Clark said her heart was breaking from seeing her get hit like that, and neither she nor Combs' bodyguard intervened. I'm going to stop there. This is what I'm talking about. This is the shit I'm talking about. He's not a fucking god. He's a human being. Y'all sat there, mouth agape, as he brutally beating this woman and didn't say a word. Why? You call the fucking, not at that moment. You can run off, call the police. The bodyguard couldn't do, like, whatever. But you're so concerned about your own careers and your own financial status that you didn't at least try anything. The man threatened to kill you. The man's beating down a woman and threatening to kill people. Like he's not a god. I can't say that enough. And now you want to start crying and like, no, fuck that. You was as big as monster as the monster himself because you let it happen. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. I don't care if anyone disagree. There's no excuse. You don't let another human being get beat down the way she did and just stand there mouth agape like come on, especially the bodyguard. You stop. You call the police. Get him in custody. Like he's not I keep saying that he's not. He's a freaking human being. And at the end of the day, the fact that a lot of you punk asses out there who witnessed the heinous crimes that he did are now all of a sudden will be all tough and beat your chest and weep and cry. Nah, y'all just as bad as he is for letting it happen. All of you that witnessed it, that know in real time what happened, you're just as guilty. You're just as horrible as he is because it shouldn't have got that far. Because again, the question comes out. I want to hear you say, why didn't you? Don't say he was scared. He's a human being. He's a human being. He's not tough. He's a human being. And then at that moment, when you're not around him, you could have easily called. When you're not around him, you go home or he goes his way. That's when you, hey, blah, 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 blah. He's threatening. They could have jumped on him. They've been on him like flies on shit if you said something at that moment. And a lot of lives, in my opinion, could have been saved, or could have, saved from being hurt physically or emotionally and mentally. But to sit there and watch it, and then bring it up years later where you could have helped that individual at the moment. And I can't stop saying it. He's not a god, man. He's a human being. He's committing a heinous crime, and he should have been in cuffs a long time ago and buried under the fucking jail. Because it just doesn't make sense. You watched it and then waited years, years to say something. It's not no sympathy for your tears. Save the tears, cry me a fucking river. You should have did something at that moment. You should not have let that man beat that woman down and all that. As soon as he threatened me the first time with a fucking gun, and it won't be a second time, and it won't be a third time, that motherfucker is, I'm calling the police and whatever, and keep it moving. And if they don't do nothing then, at least it's there on record that he's trying to, whatever. Not just bringing this up now, because all this stuff people bringing up, and I keep bringing it and beating them that, like, yo, why do y'all stop him? I would love to know why. Really, it's my opinion. What I'm thinking is, I want to hear. And don't get me, I was scared. Like, he's a human being. He's a human being. He's a human being like everybody else. And that one moment that you're not around him, you go home and you reflecting on the day. You chose to go back to work. I would have went to work. Fuck that. Life is too short. You always find another job. You can't find another life. And you want to go to work with peace and harmony in mind. You don't want to go to work where, your life is being threatened every day and working in fear. It's not what you want to do. None of us should, whether you're civilian, celebrity alike. When you work, you want to go to work. Uh, you want to enjoy it. Work is already stressful as is. It's already stressful, and you don't need that added stress, especially maybe in a position like that. You don't need the added stress. So I'm disappointed in anyone and everyone who has taken the stand, celebrity and civilian alike, who have witnessed throughout these years of what this man did and has not stepped up. Now, like I said, you guys disagree with what I'm saying. I don't care. It's my opinion, but I stand by it. I'm not going to change it because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Again, he's a human being. You I you just I just don't get it. Are you more concerned? Were you more concerned of your career status or your life? Or are you more concerned like, I just do a couple more years and I can move on and move out? I gotta see this no more. Nah, man. Like, again, you threaten me with a gun or something like that, we got problems. And I'm not saying I'm a tough guy, nothing like that, but I love my life and I want to have comfort in my life. I want to have fear in my life. I want to be able to go to work and enjoy myself without worrying that if your coffee too cold, you might put a bullet in my ass. You know what I'm saying? And I'll watch you beat down your lady like a like a dog or like, come on. No. So shame on those who watched this. Shame on those who seen it in real time and didn't say anything. Shame on you. Let that guilt filter and carry with you for the rest of your life, because you could have stopped this monster in the beginning before it got out of hand. Period. That's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? What I said, I took up your time. No, I have one more. I'm trying to end on a lighter note. Let's end on a lighter note here. I got one more. It's a little heavy, right? Yeah. It's on a little lighter note here. Ariana Grande joins Meet the Parents 4 with Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro. Ariana Grande has found her next movie starring opposite of Ben Stiller and Robert De Niro in Universal's Meet the Parents 4. Fresh off her Academy Award-nominated performance as Glinda in Wicked, Grande continues her relationship with the studio by joining one of the most successful franchises, the Meet the Parents movies, Meet the Parents movies, 2000 original film, and the sequels, Meet the Fockers, and Little Fockers, have accumulated 1.13 billion in global box office. Plot details for the fourth installment are kept or being kept under wraps. But in the Variety cover story, producer Jane Rosenthal teased that Stiller is now the same age that Robert De Niro was when he did the first one, and his kids have grown up and they have to come home and meet the parents. Uh, John Hamburg, who co-wrote all three prior films, wrote the screenplay and is set to direct the film. Universal will release the film in theaters on November 25th, 2026. Okay. I'm not big on sequels, especially after a while. Uh, so I did I did enjoy meet the, meet the Fockers, and I enjoyed that a lot, and meet the parents, and so forth. And so I don't know. It's just the I don't know. The final one is part four. It should be funny, and it is because it is his De Niro, and it's the same age as well. I said Ben Stiller, the same age as Robert De Niro uh, was at the same age, still over the same age as Robert De Niro. Sorry, I'm looking at my screen and it's kind